Hi, Virgo. You want to shake it out? Move your shoulders around, please. Wiggle. Okay. Something's gotta. We want to loosen up a little bit. Shake it out. I heard. Pay attention where it's a little tight. Maybe tighten it up where it's a little loose. So we're fine tuning here. Fine tuning, Virgo. All right. Welcome to this place. And welcome back. So, feel like it's kind of someone's in like a testing zone. Testing zone. Give me a second to tune in. I'm trying to figure out whether we're supposed to go like across the street or we're supposed to stay on the road and then turn. Oh, we got to start from the bottom up. Okay, that makes sense when building, right? Any kind of solid structure that's going to last a really long time, you start from the bottom up. Okay, Virgo. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, my God, they line up. Oh, that's so good. I didn't even notice that. I wouldn't have noticed it unless we started at the bottom. Which sometimes feels like a bummer place to be, the bottom, right? But, ma. Maybe some of your mothers are going through something too. But the point is here, so you got a lot of Pisces energy. A lot of it. This is your opposite sign. Let's see. When's the last time you went on a solo journey? Like no other humans, just you. There's something about that. Because this changes someone's perspective. This journey. It changes the perspective. And what that does is line things up in a way that helps a person notice something they didn't notice before. And actually helps a person to appreciate what they do create or what they have created. And it ensures that something doesn't like, I'm seeing like a child like with their shoes untied. It's like no one's walking around with their shoelaces undone, you know, because you're just going to trip and fall when that happens. It's like, but if you don't pay attention to what's in essence down, then you wouldn't notice. Because I heard there's a difference between looking down and being down. Interesting. I also feel like someone's been waiting for something for so long. Like they were very like, okay, so patient. Like, all right, I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna work really hard. I see. Especially patiently. Yeah. And this in and of itself helps a person to maybe close out, like, again, whatever's been waited on. There's something where it's going to open up. It may feel like it gets closer or like tighter for a second. I'm almost seeing like when a woman has a baby, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, there's all this space. I can move around. I can kick my mom. I can do all this. And then it's like, but when you go from this zone out into the world, it gets real tight, right? It gets real narrow there, and then it comes out again. This is also the Pisces symbol. Okay. Fascinating, Virgo. Oh my God, someone's been waiting for so long, like patiently waiting in their heart, praying about something, praying so, like, trying to keep it all, like trying to keep it together. And actually, where this has been done is actually creating more, it's creating security in some kind of way in a person's ability to also take all that inner knowing and apply it into this physical world. Because it's almost like I'm seeing like bridges being built, right? It's connecting this one place to the other. I would also say that whatever, okay, this is for this time frame. Well, I guess we went down that's one road, right? Well, let's turn. So this shows me a bit of a mountain. It's like a switchback, right? You can't climb a mountain like this straight up. You'll just slide back down. You gotta switch back, right? So for something, again, maybe the progress has been slow, or it's just like the way that it needed to go. Because again, if what a person's working with is a big old mountain, which I guess is building our life, and I mean life is up and downs, but what? Because even when we go down the mountain, we're going to go back up again, right? It's just life. So the point is that this process, again, has been, I heard, a long time coming. And I want you to know that even if things have been slow, there's still progress in there. So say we round the corner here. When the corner is rounded is actually when... I see there's like a big life lesson with this. You know, instead of like a hard, sharp 90-degree turn, it's a rounded corner, right? It reminds me of that reading we did called God Allows U-Turns. Which may make you kind of feel like, wait, I've sort of been here before, right? Because when you're going up a mountain like that, it's not that big of a difference as you go along. So I guess in this time frame, there aren't huge changes. But I do feel like for some of you, you're getting to the point, or you will be coming to the point again where it'll get real tight. So don't get afraid about that. You're gonna push through into this big, wide open field that's actually like this big, expansive place. So kind of take, I heard, the soft with the hard in this time. Now I also see in ways of your family, maybe some of you have water, like there's family members that are water signs. So Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces. They could also just be very, I see particularly males here that were like really influential. I see someone has gained some of their skill set, or they are within you. And I see you want to make sure this is being used in the way of building a bridge versus destroying. I heard destroying yourself, right? I heard no need to, what was it? No need to repeat the lessons of yesteryear. Okay. How did your family take care of, how does your family, even when you were younger, what did your parents do for work when you were a kid? How did they, I'd assume all of us are at very least, I think the youngest here is usually about 25. So it's kind of like, how did they take care of themselves? Provide for themselves, things like that. Now, this is also representing one being, because I keep seeing this word self-reliant. Which I suppose it's never truly us. Even the talents that we have, like, things are only possible because of God, right? Because the Creator granted us with this ability or the opportunity or that person in our life to be interested in what we do, or the courage with, gives us the courage within us to step into new places, or have the drive to do it, the legs, the arms, the eyes, all of that, the intelligence to do it. Interesting. So I guess remember that you're never alone in something. Now, I do feel like someone has been also holding in something in ways of feeling. Like maybe trying to figure out like how to talk about how they feel, or how to talk about what they've been feeling, or again, what the next step is. And I feel like this would be around about now, if this hasn't already happened. I do feel like there's a conversation of the heart that's actually brings a lot of freedom. Also remember that your prayer, your power of prayer, Virgo, or any of you who have found this, it's like your power of prayer, the love in your heart, the peace in yourself, all of that, when you feel that in yourself, that is shared across the world, whether you realize it or not. Especially when it's intentionally, totally. But even unintentionally, right? To me, time isn't fluid. Time is very, like, it's either, you get an appointment at 3 o'clock, you got to show up at 2:45, right? Time is not fluid. 3:05 is not 3 o'clock. Understanding is fluid. Right? Energy is fluid, but not time. Time is very practical. It's either 3 o'clock or it ain't. Do you know what I mean? So perhaps that was one of those things where like it wasn't the right time for someone to do something, or someone has been learning a lesson in patience with time and not giving up even when it wasn't giving, say, like the physical results maybe that someone wanted, or something like that. It was like, I heard, don't give up. There could also be something that someone's been working on in their private time, or sort of like privately, that now is wanting to be shared with the world. This could be something creative. Again, it could be something that someone's been really like trying to figure out in their heart. I see again courage in themselves, and because I could see that someone here could be looping. Like they could kind of stay, I guess, where they are in like a small, like in that space, like I was saying. Like, or how do I explain it? Okay, what are 4 issues over, say, the last year that were major? I feel like these are red lights and green lights. So it would be like, oh, okay, there was an issue, and it was worked through really smoothly, right? I guess this is where some things have started moving, and where some things have stopped. Now remember, where the stopping is for some of the situations, it's meant to be that way because the timing connects to something beyond you that was teaching someone about patience. And I guess honesty, or the truth, I would say, what are 4 things that you're also, this number's coming pretty strong. It's like, what are sort of like an issue? Well, when there's an issue of a magazine, it's just like, okay, issue 237, right? Issue 238. So I see it's important to rely, like, to some extent. Of course, spirit is important, but God only helps those that help themselves, right? He's not going to come pick us up out of a situation that we just want to be stuck in and want to be like a, you know, resist the timing. So you want to be aware, I guess, of timing, because there's something here that's like been I see again like a long time coming. And again, I see how self-reliant was your, what's the deal with where you came from? You know, again, how did they deal with problems? Who took care of you as a child? Who, what's this one? Because you want to look at the wider picture, right? We may be going up the mountain like this, right? This little switchback, but this is still a plan of action. Like, I want to get to the other side of this mountain. I'm trying to get over there. For me to do that, I have to do it this way. I can't do it straight up. I can't do it this way because that's an instant fail, right? You're setting yourself up, the person setting themselves up for failure. There's no need for that. So it's about thinking ahead. Okay, interesting. Someone's very appreciative. Comes to be very appreciative. Hold on a second. Virgo, it's very important for you to always be aware of time. Saturn is your square. And it pulls your energy. Which means that how do I explain that? Well, Saturn is about long-term goals. It's about really working towards like future energy. It's taking up initiative to make things happen. It understands that you can be creative in the process, but it's always important to have this long-term plan and have things put in order. Because when that's the case, you can actually stop for a second to be like, all right, wait, I've already handled this, this, and that. Let me give myself a little time, I heard, to see how I really feel. This could also give you time to connect with, I heard, if those of you who are a workaholic, it's like, well then, you know, it's finding more of a balance between like when to do what. Because this could be one of those things where somebody here gets stuck and being like, well, I'm just gonna, it's like a go with the flow kind of person. Like really go with the flow. Like, oh, I'm just gonna float down the river. Like, oh, it's okay. Like, it'll be all good. It'll be all good. It's like this kind of energy, which is a nice perspective. Don't get me wrong. That positivity helps a lot. But I heard that feeling's gotta be real. And part of how that's proven is through what a person does in the physical world. You know, because words are just words. You can always tell when there's like what the feeling is behind it. You know, whether it's full or empty. And so I heard, be real about how you feel. Now, I would say, I don't know if Mercury's still in retrograde, but I feel like if there's, because there was this energy that was like waiting, like the same energy. It was the same for a long time. This energy here, the same. Now this shows consistency to some extent, but with all things in life, it grows, right? We should be growing to some extent, expanding, right? All trees continue to grow and expand in and of themselves. They stay the same, the essence, but it expands out, right? And maybe some people are afraid to grow out, or they don't know how to, you know, because you got to cut away the dead branches too, right? That much dead weight. Interesting. And I guess with that Saturn, it's important to be realistic. Now, let's go back into this time frame, because I feel like this could be helpful. Taurus time represents, well, money. It represents love. It represents like what we have in and of ourselves, say emotionally, what we have physically, how we're Capricorn using that, and this includes time, you know, how we use our time. That really matters, you know. And actually, well, we'll mention that at the end. You know, sometimes we get lucky. 22. Sometimes we just get lucky. Like we create something randomly and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I can't believe that happened. And there's I see a lot of gratitude and appreciation around that. But luck, it's not good to rely on luck, right? To me, luck doesn't actually happen. Again, it's like spirit coming in being like, good job for working wicked hard on that. And again, if what, you know, because we have to believe in ourselves too, that we're doing something practically. It doesn't just help us, it helps other people, and it makes life easier for us and for other people, and you know, things of that nature. So in this time, I would save your money. I would be conscious of the physical world. Like, for instance, how much do all the bills cost? You know, everything that's needed wherever you are. All the things, how much does that cost? How much money are you bringing in every month? Right? I heard, what is it that's old that needs updating? And I guess since we're talking about this in this way, this would also be someone taking up like an executive position, right? Well, I heard, how do your friend, like, I guess it's also possible to be very creative in the planning process, all because you know what's cool about going up a mountain like this, that switchback, is you have time. You're not, I mean, you can't stop because you're going to interrupt the flow of everyone else, right? People are going to be going kind of, when we're usually on a road and there's other people there, we got to keep the kind of the same pace. Or if there are multiple lanes, you got to get in the slow lane if you're the slow lane, but you have to understand that people are going to pass you, right? And usually when you're going along and someone is in the slow lane and a person is keeping whatever their speed is, it's like, well, you can sense when something is sort of like not going the same pace as you, so you just go around it, right? Someone just goes around it because that's actually what's safer, instead of, you know, Because I guess we have to be like aware of our environment. And I feel like there's a beautiful opportunity right now to begin again, like to plant a new seed. You know, maybe this is about thinking about, again, what the possibilities are. And actually, those of you who have been working on your fear, if you've been working on, you know, we're all a little codependent, whether that's you're the more controlling one because you feel like another person's weak, or if you're the weak one and you want everyone to, you know, the other side of codependency where we rely on others too much for things. Whatever you've been, any of you who have understand what we're talking about here and have been consciously working through that and paying attention to your money, and Saturn paying attention to time and being conscientious and responsible. You know, I heard this can even be taking where a person's conscious of like taking care of their parents, right? It's like you understand you become an elder and then you become older and you start respecting and taking care of the elders instead of the adult acting like a child, right? Whatever this is, then I actually feel like there is some beautiful healing in there. So a person no longer lives in the past. But I suppose if this is what's been waiting to be, then this really does change a situation. And for some people, I suppose that could be kind of scary. So, well, I guess a person wants to be, this is a time of clearing out, right? Here's the Queen of Fire. Right? Because Queen of Fire, she's a badass, right? She handles everything. She does all the things, all the weights and measurements, handles so much of the work. Go getter, really, like, this is really an independent energy where it's just like, no, I'm gonna do that. That needs to get done. I'm gonna do that, right? Because they believe in themselves, and they believe that spirit helps them too. Fire is very, very in tune with spirit, but they're not gonna wait around. Their fire energy is not a go with the flow, unless everything's all done, and then they can relax, right? So, interesting. I do see now is the time to plan. Even if you're feeling down, even if you're having a bummer day, all of that, it's just like, plan, right? Especially when you get in your head too much. Don't distract yourself. Really think about like where you're at, right? And maybe what your skill sets are. And again, what you've been working on and putting energy into. And of course, if we're talking about growth, and again, I see this energy of waiting, or it's been like in the same position for a long time. I see when you turn this corner, it's like there's so much energy that just it's just like, whew. Again, it's like the water breaks and the baby's like, boop, here we go. It like popped into somebody's arms. You know, it's like all of a sudden it's a reality. So I heard handling things with care. And I suppose once you figure out what that the long-term goal is, at least like understanding a further scope of it, right? Which shows ability to in a sense, see into the future. Well, then you can kind of give yourself time again to be like, okay, you know, looking to the month, looking to what happens. Think about it. Months, seasons, years, right? These are all here for us because the past is now. And that process will, and how that's felt about or learned from, is going to dictate the future. Because once you know the year understanding, the seasonal understanding, the monthly understanding, then you can come back into the weekly understanding where it's like, okay, wait. Well, I heard it's not impossible. But I see that it's important to not think that things come via luck. I mean, I suppose you want to be lucky for what you have. Be appreciative. Or what you've had. And then I heard moving along. This is definitely some gusto too. That's what's needed, is some movement, because something was either stagnant or, again, in the more challenging sense, in the really positive spiritual place, it was something that was there was great patience here. But I see it's time to round the corner. And then I see someone like going up and like going into a roundabout, or like a cul-de-sac. It's like, don't keep going in circles. Like, if you end up taking a road and it ends up like a little dead end, well, then just be like, whoop, I went the wrong, okay, round, right? It makes like a keyhole. And then you go back, right? Sometimes when we get lost, it teaches us a lot. And I see the words creative, happy start. All right, to close this out, I will also say that, Virgo, you had a very powerful reading over... I did a bunch of extra readings on Patreon. And all the mutable energy, you, Virgo, Gemini, Pisces, all in this time frame talked about, like, the really hard stuff that's going on. And it's like, instead of... Usually mutable energy is so chill, right? So chill. Kind of laid back. But it's like, no. Boop, boop. Like, it was like that energy was stepping up. And I suppose if you're the one stepping up, you hear, then that's a leadership position, and that's good. Whoever is not stepping up, that should be, is probably getting this energy towards them. So if you're over there, those are up now. If you would like access to them, they're in the Timeless Traveler tier. And if you join that, you get access to all the zodiac signs, and then anything else that has been previously posted for the month. And then if you want to stay there, you're more than welcome. Be part of that circle over there. And if not, you take care. But they really touched on some harder, like, deeper shadow energy. So for some of you, I feel like it could be helpful, and I just wanted to share that news. They just felt a little too private to be in this public space, so I just felt like that was the best way to address the situation and to share that information, okay? Okay. And, and once this cycle closes, whatever this is, or when something comes to that tight point and then opens up into this new world, it really gets going, I'm telling you. But it comes from a person's independent energy, like their gusto to be like, all right, I'm going to do it, like, and they know when to go, and they know when to slow. Oh my God, we've talked about this before. And then once that happens, it's just like, well, I see someone being very thankful for the help they've received, and I see, like, working together with others and helping out, lending a helping hand. It's like, again, I see working together. It's really positive, but I guess someone has to believe in themselves. And I heard, and not repeat the family patterns, and also recognize the power or the gifts that the talents that, you were given, that God granted you. And then, but remember, in that story in the Bible, everyone gets a pocket full of silver, pieces of silver. And some people take that and they use it, right? They're like, wow, I can turn this into that. Yes, I know how to do this. I can do that. Yeah. Some people go and bury it because they don't want anyone to take it away. You know, they're like, and then some people just never do anything with it. So I see the important part was the prior, where it's like, no, I understand what I have and what I can do with that. And it's not fantastical. This is like real life, right? And I keep seeing that word lucky. I mean, I guess sometimes we do get lucky. We get, you know, we pull in a parking lot. It's like a shady spot on a sunny day. It's like, yeah, I guess that's luck. But I heard don't rely on luck. And especially with Neptune opposing your sign, Virgo, especially those of you who have a lot of personal planets there, like this can really be a lot of illogical, energy. So you want to be really practical. You want to really tap into that Saturn Capricorn energy. Okay? And with Taurus being the other Earth, this trine, it's like loving, right? Leo talked about this. It's like when you love what you do, whether that's paying the bills, mowing the lawn, doing the laundry, wiping the kid's butt, making that art, you know, creating that thing, like, but especially even the real practical stuff, it's like when you love that, when you're happy to do that, heck yeah. Then I see Spirit supports that work because a person is overcoming, they're facing their challenge head on with good work, you know? Because I see here that there's someone here that can do it all by themselves if they want to. They don't need anybody else. But they would like some support. Everybody wants support. All right, Virgo, I love you so much. I hope this was helpful. Please take care, and I'll talk to you next time.